My daughter called me. And I'm just going to make sure that the volume's up. All right, so today we're focusing on Timeless Tulips. Marianne here from Pinery Paper Crafts. And if you joined me before, sorry. I stopped it and started again. There was no one on when I did that, but Timeless Tulips was in the January to June catalog, and it features a coordinating punch, and it is carrying over to the new catalog. And it's a great little punch to have in your stash. So I'm just going to show you 2 cards today, and then some other cards that I've made with this set. The colors I'm featuring today, I was thinking about Sesame Street for those of you who are old enough. So I'm going to say today's Facebook Live is brought to you by the colors Mango Melody and Granny Apple Green. I love these 2 colors together. They're bright and cheery, and I've actually never seen tulips this color in my garden, but I'm quite sure there are tulips this color. So here are the 2 cards. So this is the second one. It's a little bit more complicated. So for the first card, it's a very simple, very basic card. I have my insides. The cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and I actually found another snail in my drawer. And this is the extra little strip from the 6x6 designer series paper. And so I'm just going to put it on the inside. It looks crooked, but all right, so that's going to go on the inside. Makes it a little fancier. And then on the front, I have 4 by 5 1/4. Both sides are cute, but I want to use the scripty one. And the new designer series paper pack that's similar to this has a scripty one as well, but the writing's quite a bit smaller from what I could tell in the catalog. But I love the scripty. All right, then we're going to add vellum, and then Whisper White. And these are from the Stitched So Sweetly dies. And it's the biggest and second biggest, I want to say. Is it the biggest? The biggest is pretty big. Yep, the biggest and second biggest. And just a little trick, when you cut this out of vellum or Whisper White, you can have it 2 layers thick. And I always do that so I have extras in my little stash over there. So we're just going to layer this up. I've gone ahead and stamped 1 tulip with Mango Melody, and then a stem and 2 leaves, and I don't know what I was thinking about that leaf, but it should be over here more. And then I stamped another one on Mango Melody cardstock. I want to show you the difference of stamping on cardstock and stamping on Whisper White. So you can see how this one is quite a bit brighter. And then I cut out 2 leaves from using the punch from Granny Apple Green. Although it looks a bit darker here, but it is Granny Apple Green. And we're going to pop those up. So let's pop up our tulip first of all. So we have 1 tulip that's not popped up, and this one, and then 1 that is popped up. I like that, the look of that. And always put it on a bit of an angle. And then we're going to pop up our leaves. I'm going to use 2 dimensionals. I don't know which way these go, but I do have tulips in the garden. I should have gone out and checked to see, but it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to kind of offset this one just a little bit lower, or not. Which way do I want that to go? Yeah, I think I want it that way. Or do I? There, that looks good. And then I'm going to also pop up this and hopefully not run out of dimensionals. I'm supposed to be getting about 4 or 5 boxes today of different orders that I placed during the retiring sale, so I hope they come because I'd like some bigger dimensionals. All right, this is a very quick and simple card. I'm going to put it up a little bit. I didn't put any sentiment on. Sometimes I don't like putting a sentiment on because then I can use it for anything. And in this case, that's what I'm doing. So I did this bow, and I wasn't sure it covered up enough of the stuff. And then I thought I'd try a granny apple green one, but I think that one's too big. So I'm just going to go with this one. And I'm going to grab my glue dots, and I'm just going to put on one glue dot down there. There. I think that's pretty. All right. So the second one I'm going to do is a technique called floating frame, I think it's called. So you're going to be using the rectangle stitched dies, and what's cool about these is they put a stitch on both sides. So when you cut it out, it's got a stitch on the piece left behind and the piece that you die cut out, which is pretty cool. So this is the one we're going to be using. I'm just going to show you when I'm designing things how I decide what I want. So originally I was going to do just one flower, and I'll show you how I did the flower in a second. Then I thought, no, maybe I should do more flowers. So then I did more flowers, and I didn't really like it. I hope I'm right on the right page. Sorry, I'm just checking something. Yeah. So I thought it was a bit much with all the leaves down here. Not the flowers so much, but when I started to do the leaves, I wrecked it. But then I'm going to go back to one, and we'll do one, and then I'll see which one I like better. So the floating frame is going to get glued down flat, and then you pop up the middle one. Here's an example of another card I did. This was the lily set from last year's celebration. So you can see how I've got the frame, and it's popped up a little bit, but it sits right inside. So that's the idea. So we can go ahead and glue this on. And I think I did this one maybe one size smaller, but I don't remember actually. We can compare. Yeah, I did, because the other one's right up to the top. I got glue all over the place here. One thing about this snail glue, it kind of rolls. You can roll it off with your fingers. So I want to center this. Make sure it's straight before I really push it down. All right, that looks good. There's an eraser too that I have that we'll get rid of that. All right, so now we're going to do our, oh, I do have my inside for this one. So this was a little scrap out of that same piece of paper, but using the other side, because otherwise the scripty part would be sideways. So this is the inside. Okay, so for my tulip, I stamped it 3 times on Whisper White using Mango Melody ink. And if you used your Stamparatus, you could do it a little darker because it's not really dark ink. And then, because it's symmetrical, I folded each one in half. And we're going to make a popping up flower. So then you just take some snail. It's best to have, you could use tear and tape, but I'm not going to bother. I just line them up on the ground so I know they're flat. So make sure that you have snail right along the seam as well as the outside. And again, when you have it down on the desk, then you know it's going to match up. All right, so now we have like a 3D flower, and now I'm going to put snail on the back. I don't want to pop this up because it's already 3D. Okay, so that's going to go here. Before I do that, one thing I found about this one was it was a bit too much white space. So what I did is I took my pool party and I showed you a trick to do this the other day. Where did I put my little scrap of paper? Where you don't want too much color on here. So you start kind of off the page a little bit, and I'm just giving it a little bit of sky. And I've also made a mistake there, so it's going to cover it up a little bit. So it's just a really subtle sky. I'm using hardly any pressure. And if you go right over the stem, it doesn't really matter. If you want to have certain spots that are darker, you can. That's good enough. You'll see this one I did the same thing, but I didn't do it as dark. Okay, so now we can put our tulip on. And it's okay if I go off a little bit because it's going to be in this floating frame. So that'll kind of look cool. And then I have my leaves somewhere. I have 2 leaves somewhere. All right, well, I better cut out 2 leaves. So the leaves are cut out of Granny Apple Green. It's a great way to use up your scraps. I'll find them as soon as I go off camera. So there's 1 and 2. I think I will pop up the leaves. If you turn them over, then you can get them so that they're kind of opposite to each other. Let's see if I have any dimensionals left. I do. Okay, so let's just pop that up. We want to put it so it's actually on the stem, would be ideal. Oh, hi Pat. We're doing a floating frame design. All right, so that was the first card we did. I had to pop off because Liz called right when I started. So now we're going to pop this one up with the like 6 dimensionals I have left. Oh, I just found some. Okay, perfect. I'm going to cut off some of these edges. Just going to have a quick Facebook Live today. These ones are almost too big, but I'm not going to complain now that I've found them. So the idea is it's supposed to be an illusion, and you want to pop it up exactly where it would have come out of the paper. Hi, Sue. So we're looking at the different ways to stamp. This one was stamped on Mango Melody cardstock. I think I did use Coastal Cabana just because the Mango Melody didn't show up when I stamped it, just to give it a bit of a different look. And this one I could have done a greeting on, but I'm just leaving it blank for now. So you put it right back in where it came out, and it has some depth to it. And I did put a little piece inside as well. And then for the ribbon, this ribbon's beautiful, but it's kind of big for cards. I'm going to go with something more subtle, but it does need a ribbon. Would look pretty with that tulle ribbon, the little polka dotted stuff, but I ran out, so I'm waiting to get it. There we go. So there's those 2 cards. So here's just a very simple one using, this was the Brights 6x6 Designer Series paper. The new one that's coming out this year is different patterns, but it's still really pretty. This one is retiring, and some of them are already sold out. I don't know if that one is sold out yet or not. And then, so that one has the 2 tulips, and then using the scalloped framelits. And then this one's a very simple one, You could put a little hello or Happy Mother's Day or something. But sometimes I like to leave them blank till I know what I'm going to use it for, and then it would be easy to just add a little thing on top there. And the color we used is Mango Melody, and it's not a color I use all the time, but it's a fun color for spring. So I'm going to show you some other cards I've made with the Tulip Builder Punch and stamp set. The stamp set is called Timeless Tulips. It's carrying over to the new catalog, and the punch is the Tulip Builder Punch. So here's the same design that I used with the Lily stamp set. That was a Celebration stamp set last year. So you can just add a saying later on. I like to be able to do that. So here's another one that I did. Same idea. Oh, maybe we can add some bling. Same idea, just one simple tulip. And this one I just stamped one leaf and raised one leaf up. And I stamped the leaf before I cut it out. There's actually stamps for 3 different leaves. Oh, look what I just found. And this is the leaf embossing folder. Again, I've used vellum. And the bow looks okay on this one, but I think it looked too big on that one. So there's that one. Another simple one, just layering up some colored paper that coordinates with the tulips, using a nice double bow. And don't forget, don't be worried to stamp right over your images as well. And I did want to say for this one, even though it's 3D, when you mail it, it mails flat. So it's ideal. And this one, Happy Easter, Happy Spring, Happy, Happy Everything, is really pretty. So a bunch of tulips and then just one focus tulip. So that's a nice way to do it. And then this one, I used the subtle embossing folder, the oval. And again, it just shows you how you can go back later and just add your sentiment. This is the Best Dressed Designer Series paper. And this is done in this is done in Melon Mambo. So that's the Tulip Builder Punch. Very versatile punch. It is carrying over to the new catalog, so you'll be able to get it right through next year. So, hi Phyllis. So those are the cards I have for you today, and I hope it's nice and sunny where you are. It's actually warmer out than I thought it was, and I do have some beautiful tulips on my desk. I'll see if I can take the camera off and show you. Inspired me to do this video today. And they're not from my garden. Oh! They're not from my garden. I might have messed it up. I actually got them at the store. But they're really beautiful. And it shows you how when you're watercoloring, these ones are light at the bottom and then they're darker. I tend to do it the opposite sometimes, but sometimes the color gets more vibrant as they open. You can see some are open and some are closed. All right, I'm not going to try to move the camera again. So that's it for me today. I'll be back tomorrow, and who knows what I'll be sharing with you. But I'll be back at 3 o'clock tomorrow. I hope you're joining me on my mission to make a card, send a card. And thank you everyone for joining me, and have a great day.